Chronic inflammation is often the silent driver behind the joint stiffness, persistent fatigue, and subtle aches that many people accept as a normal part of aging. After the age of 60, the body's ability to manage inflammation changes. The immune system becomes less efficient at turning off the inflammatory response once it starts. This state of low-grade chronic inflammation is sometimes referred to as inflammaging. While exercise and sleep play major roles, the most significant daily factor controlling this process is the food you eat. Unfortunately, many foods marketed as healthy, heart-smart, or diet-friendly are actually potent triggers for inflammation. These foods can spike blood sugar, disrupt gut health, and create chemical imbalances that lead to pain and swelling. By identifying and removing these specific items, you can significantly lower your body's inflammatory load. 1. Fruit juice. The first item to reconsider is fruit juice. For decades, orange juice, apple juice, and grape juice have been presented as essential parts of a healthy breakfast. We associate them with vitamin C and natural energy. However, for a body over 60, fruit juice acts very differently than whole fruit. When you eat a whole orange, you are consuming fiber, pulp, and water alongside the natural sugar. This fiber is crucial because it acts as a barrier in your digestive system. It slows down the absorption of sugar into your bloodstream, ensuring a steady release of energy. When fruit is juiced, the fiber is stripped away completely. What remains is a concentrated liquid sugar solution. A typical glass of orange juice can contain as much sugar as a can of soda. Because there is no fiber to slow it down, this sugar hits your bloodstream almost instantly. This causes a rapid spike in blood glucose. The body must then rush to produce insulin to manage this spike. High levels of insulin are directly linked to increased inflammation throughout the body. Furthermore, fruit juice is primarily fructose. While glucose can be used by every cell in your body for energy, fructose is processed almost entirely by the liver. When the liver is flooded with liquid fructose, it can become overwhelmed. This stress on the liver promotes the production of inflammatory markers and can contribute to fatty liver deposits, even in people who do not drink alcohol. Over time, this visceral fat releases inflammatory chemicals that circulate in the blood, aggravating joint pain and increasing the risk of metabolic issues. It is also important to note that many commercial juices undergo processing that removes the natural flavor, which is then added back in as flavor packs. This means the juice you buy in a carton is often far removed from the fresh fruit it came from. The simple, anti-inflammatory choice is to eat the whole fruit. A whole apple or orange provides the sweetness you enjoy, but it comes packaged with the fiber your body needs to process it safely without triggering an inflammatory response. 2. Agave nectar. The second food to avoid is agave nectar. In recent years, agave has been heavily marketed as a healthy, natural alternative to white sugar and high fructose corn syrup. It is often found in healthy baked goods, teas, and sweetened yogurts. The marketing suggests that because it has a lower glycemic index than regular sugar, it does not spike blood sugar as aggressively. While it is true that agave has a lower glycemic index, this is misleading regarding its health value. The reason agave does not spike blood glucose immediately is that it is composed of anywhere from 75% to 90% fructose. This is a higher fructose concentration than high fructose corn syrup. As mentioned with fruit juice, fructose is processed by the liver. When you consume agave, your blood glucose might remain stable, but your liver is taking a significant hit. The liver converts this concentrated fructose directly into triglycerides, a type of fat found in the blood. High triglyceride levels are a major marker for inflammation and heart health risks. Excessive fructose intake is also linked to an increase in uric acid production. High levels of uric acid are the primary cause of gout, a painful form of arthritis that disproportionately affects older adults. If you are already prone to joint pain or have concerns about kidney health, agave nectar can exacerbate these issues. Additionally, the processing of agave is often extensive. While the agave plant itself has medicinal properties, the syrup found on supermarket shelves is highly refined. It is heated and treated with enzymes to convert the plant's carbohydrates into syrup, stripping away beneficial nutrients. For a safer sweetener, options like stevia or monk fruit extract are preferable as they do not impact blood sugar or liver function in the same way. 3. Vegetable and seed oils. The third category involves widely used vegetable and seed oils. This includes soybean oil, corn oil, canola oil, sunflower oil, and cottonseed oil. For years, these were promoted as heart-healthy alternatives to saturated fats like butter. However, current nutritional understanding highlights a significant issue regarding inflammation: the balance of omega-6 and omega-3 fatty acids. Omega-6 and omega-3 are both essential fatty acids, meaning the body cannot produce them and must obtain them from food. They have opposing functions. Omega-6 fatty acids are generally pro-inflammatory. They help the immune system trigger inflammation to fight infection or heal an injury. Omega-3 fatty acids are anti-inflammatory. They help calm the response and return the body to normal. A healthy body needs a balanced ratio of these two fats. In the modern diet, especially for those relying on processed foods or standard cooking oils, the intake of omega-6 is excessively high compared to omega-3. Soybean oil and corn oil are incredibly rich in omega-6. When you consume these oils daily, you are constantly fueling the body's inflammatory pathways. For someone over 60 whose body is already working harder to manage inflammation, this imbalance can lead to chronic stiffness and irritation in the tissues. Furthermore, the processing of these oils is chemically intensive. Extracting oil from soybeans or corn is not as simple as pressing an olive. The seeds are often treated with chemical solvents, such as hexane, to extract the oil. Then the oil undergoes deodorizing and bleaching processes at high heat to make it shelf-stable and neutral in taste. This heavy processing can damage the delicate fats, leading to oxidation. Consuming oxidized fats forces the body to use its antioxidant reserves to neutralize them, creating oxidative stress which damages cells and accelerates aging. To reduce inflammation, verify the labels of salad dressings, mayonnaise, and pantry staples. These oils are cheap and therefore used in almost all processed foods. Swapping these for cold-pressed olive oil, avocado oil, or coconut oil provides fats that are more stable and biologically friendly to the aging body. 4. Commercial whole wheat bread. The fourth food is commercial whole wheat bread. Many seniors switch from white bread to whole wheat bread, believing it is the responsible choice for heart health and digestion. While whole grains in their intact form can be beneficial, the whole wheat bread found in the bread aisle is often highly processed. The problem lies in how the flour is created. Modern milling processes pulverize the wheat kernel into an ultra-fine dust. Even if the label says 100% whole wheat, the particle size of the flour is so small that it digests remarkably fast. When you eat this bread, enzymes in your saliva and stomach break it down into glucose rapidly. This results in a blood sugar spike that is often just as high as, or sometimes higher than, the spike caused by white bread or table sugar. This rapid rise in blood sugar triggers the release of insulin. As we have established, frequent insulin spikes are a primary driver of inflammation. Additionally, modern wheat contains a protein called wheat germ agglutinin, WGA. WGA can be irritating to the gut lining. As we age, the gut lining naturally becomes more permeable and sensitive. Irritation in the gut often translates to systemic inflammation, manifesting as joint pain, brain fog, or skin issues. Many commercial breads also contain added sugars to offset the bitterness of the whole wheat, as well as preservatives and dough conditioners to keep the loaf soft for weeks. These additives add to the chemical load the body must process. True whole grain health comes from grains that are still intact or cracked, such as steel-cut oats, quinoa or barley, where the body has to work to break down the fiber shell. This slows digestion and keeps inflammation low. If you eat bread, looking for sourdough or sprouted grain breads is a better option, as the fermentation and sprouting processes break down some of the anti-nutrients and make the gluten easier to digest. 5. Flavored low-fat yogurt. The fifth item is flavored low-fat yogurt. Yogurt is traditionally a superfood, rich in calcium, protein and probiotics that support gut health. However, the low-fat trend has transformed many yogurts into inflammatory desserts. When manufacturers remove the natural fat from yogurt to label it low-fat or non-fat, the texture and flavor suffer. To compensate, they add significant amounts of sugar, artificial sweeteners, and thickeners. A single serving of fruit-flavored low-fat yogurt can contain 15 to 25 grams of sugar. This is equivalent to the sugar content of a candy bar. Starting your day with this much sugar sets off a cycle of blood sugar instability. The surge of glucose promotes inflammation immediately. Furthermore, high sugar intake feeds harmful bacteria and yeast in the gut, crowding out the beneficial bacteria that the yogurt is supposed to provide. A healthy gut microbiome is essential for controlling inflammation. A disrupted microbiome is a constant source of it. The removal of fat is also detrimental for seniors. Healthy fats are necessary for the absorption of fat-soluble vitamins like vitamin D, which is critical for bone health and immune function. Fat also helps to signal satiety, telling your brain that you are full. Without the fat, the sugary yogurt digests quickly, leaving you hungry again shortly after, potentially leading to overeating. The artificial thickeners and gums used to mimic the texture of fat, such as carrageenan or guar gum, can also be problematic for some people. These additives can cause bloating and digestive distress in sensitive individuals. The anti-inflammatory alternative is to choose plain, full-fat Greek yogurt. You can control the sweetness yourself by adding a handful of fresh berries or a small drizzle of raw honey. This provides the protein and probiotics without the inflammatory sugar load. 6. Granola and cereal bars. The sixth food to avoid is granola and cereal bars. These are staples in the healthy snack aisle, often packaged with images of hikers and fresh fields. They are marketed as high-energy, wholesome foods. In reality, most commercial granola is calorie-dense and loaded with sugar and seed oils. To make granola crunchy and sweet, oats and nuts are coated in sweeteners like honey, maple syrup, or cane sugar, and then baked in oil. The oils used are typically the inflammatory vegetable oils discussed earlier, soybean, canola, or corn oil. This combination of high sugar and oxidized oils creates a double hit of inflammation. The sugar spikes insulin, while the omega-6 rich oils promote inflammatory pathways. Furthermore, the dried fruit often found in granola and cereal bars is another concentrated source of sugar. Dried cranberries, raisins, and apricots are dense in fructose. Many dried fruits are also treated with sulfites to preserve their color, which can trigger sensitivities and inflammation in some people. Cereal bars are often even more processed, held together by syrups and containing soy protein, isolates, and artificial flavorings. They are essentially cookies marketed as health food. For an older adult with a naturally slower metabolism, the caloric density of granola is also a concern. A small cup can contain hundreds of calories, primarily from carbohydrates. Excess caloric intake that isn't burned off is stored as visceral fat, which, as noted, is biologically active tissue that releases inflammatory cytokines. If you enjoy the texture and taste of granola, making it at home is a much safer option. You can bake oats and nuts using coconut oil or egg whites as a binder, use minimal sweetness, and avoid the heavy processing of store-bought versions. However, for a quick snack, a handful of raw nuts like walnuts or almonds provides healthy fats and fiber without the inflammatory additives. 7. Farmed tilapia. The seventh food is farmed tilapia. Fish is universally recommended as an anti-inflammatory food, primarily due to the high omega-3 content found in species like salmon, mackerel, and sardines. Doctors often recommend eating more fish to help with arthritis and heart health. However, not all fish are created equal, and the source of the fish dictates its nutritional profile. Tilapia is one of the most popular fish in the world because it is affordable and has a very mild taste. The vast majority of tilapia sold in supermarkets is farm-raised. In the wild, fish eat algae and aquatic plants, which allows them to develop high levels of beneficial omega-3 fatty acids. Farmed tilapia, however, are typically raised in crowded pens and fed a diet based on corn and soy pellets. Because they eat a diet of corn and soy, the flesh of farmed tilapia becomes high in omega-6 fatty acids and very low in omega-3s. In some studies, the inflammatory potential of farmed tilapia has been compared to that of hamburger meat or bacon. Instead of reducing inflammation, eating this fish may actually contribute to it due to this unfavorable fatty acid ratio. Additionally, the crowded conditions of fish farms often require the use of antibiotics and pesticides to control disease and parasites. Residues of these chemicals can remain in the fish. The environmental standards in some countries where tilapia is mass-produced vary significantly, leading to potential contamination. For an anti-inflammatory diet, it is better to prioritize wild-caught fish. Wild-caught Alaskan salmon, Pacific cod, or smaller fish like herring and sardines are excellent sources of omega-3s without the high omega-6 burden. If you find the flavor of these fish too strong, look for white fish that is certified wild-caught, such as haddock or flounder, to ensure you are getting the health benefits you expect from seafood. Navigating nutrition after the age of 60 requires a shift in perspective. It is not just about counting calories, it is about reading the ingredient list and understanding how food affects your internal chemistry. The body becomes less tolerant of processed ingredients and sugar as it ages. The inflammation caused by these 7 foods, fruit juice, agave nectar, vegetable oils, commercial whole wheat bread, flavored yogurt, granola, and farmed tilapia, builds up over time. It manifests as the aches, stiffness, and low energy that can limit your independence and enjoyment of life. By removing these inflammatory triggers and replacing them with whole, unprocessed alternatives, you give your body a chance to cool down and repair. You may find that joint pain decreases, energy levels stabilize, and mental clarity improves. It is never too late to change your diet to support your biology. Small, consistent changes in what you buy at the grocery store can yield profound results for your comfort and vitality. If you know someone over 50 who could benefit from this, share this video and subscribe for more simple health tips.